Hello everybody. For today's video, we're just going to be doing a general overview of what to build as support in the current Smite Alpha patch of 1.0. Now, there will be a new patch coming out soon, and what I will do for that video is I will be going through one by one each of the current support gods, since there's so few of them, and I will go in depth on what to build on each character. But right now, this video is just going to be a generic, like, hey, do this type of build on these characters, and it'll help you win games, you know, especially if you're in ranked, you're grinding ranked like I am early in this patch right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty. So, like I said earlier, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be showcasing just a general type of build. I'm not going to go through each and every item and say, build this item, build this item, build this item. I will go through a decent bit of the items, but what I'm going to try to do, and this is something I've always tried to do on my channel, is I'm going to help you understand what types of items to build and what slots and why. Now, for starter items right now, I'm going to flat out tell you, 9 times out of 10, you will always be going selflessness. This item is just way too strong in its current state. You should really never be building War Flag. I mean, the stats are the same on both, but when you look at the upgrades, Heroism gets a pretty big jump in stats. War Flag doesn't at all. It's the exact same. And in terms of passives, selflessness is just clearly better. So just get that. You can actually experiment and go like a Bluestone if you're going more of an aggressive support, like a Fenrir or something like that. However, even on those characters, I'd still advise you to go selflessness because it's just so strong right now. What we're seeing a lot of in support right now is people are able to go kind of full damage supporty builds, which is really cool because I've always liked that aspect about other MOBAs like League and Dota. But what's really cool about that is they're still going this selflessness just because of how tanky that makes you. This alone makes you so tanky that it allows you to go those extra damage builds, but also the economy you get from this item is just so strong. And that's your starter item. It's really simple. You're just pretty much going to go selflessness for right now, almost every game on support. War Flag, if you want to have fun, it's not gonna be the end of the world, but you're just gonna have such a better time with selflessness. And trust me, I am a War Flag lover. I've always been a War Flag lover in Smite 1. Pains me to say it, but you just gotta go selflessness right now, guys. It's just too good. Now, in this item 1 slot and also item 2 slot, you're pretty much going to be going one of two options if you're going for a general tanky build, which, spoiler alert, this is what this is going to be, just because most players aren't going to realistically be good enough to go the full damage support and actually do good with it. They're just going to die and feed, and it's going to be sad. However, I do want to stress that actually is a viable option right now, and that will be coming in a later video. Trust, it's actually not as bad as you think it is. It's just a little hard. Anyway, so as we saw in the most recent tournament, and also just if you watch pro players play, if you watch a lot of streams, whatever it is, and also just based purely on stats, you're going to be going one of two items in this first or second slot. You're either going to be going Amanita Charm, I think that's how it's pronounced, or where is it? Gauntlet of Thieves. These two items, in my opinion, are very interchangeable in this first slot. It just really depends on which you think you can get away with. If you think the early game is fine, go Thieves and just start getting those stacks as early as possible. Otherwise, maybe go this Amanita Charm just so you can get that extra bulk stats right now, and then go to the Thieves. Both are very good. If you're ahead, get the Amanita Charm, whatever it's called. This is just so strong. Look at these stats. 25 physical procs, 15 magical procs, 200 health, 2 health regen, and the active is Old Meditation Cloak, but you place it down. It's super cool, and it's very powerful. This is a very good early item. It'll help you win games. If you watched the tournament the other day, every single support built this item either first or second. Some built it third, but it was very rare. This item was built every game, and it was built extremely early. This is a very good item. Thebes is also a very good item, especially on characters like Ares or Bacchus, where they scale their damage off of how many prots they have. This will help you more in the late game, whereas and Manito will help you more in the early to mid game. Both are good. I honestly, in my personal recommendation, I would advise getting the mushroom first, just because of how good the pure stats on it are, and then going thieves. But like I said, if you can afford to get thieves first and you're going to be playing safe for that early, just get thieves and get those stacks, because it's really easy to stack thieves right now with how much farm is in the game. It is ridiculously easy to stack thieves right now, guys. Just, it is what it is. But yes, you're going to want one of these two items in these first two slots pretty much every game. There are some exceptions where you might want to get a Stone of Binding in this first slot, but right now we're not going to talk about that. That's going to be in a later video. Right now, I really just want you focusing on those two items because they are going to be doing the most for your team. If you're comfortable enough and you're confident enough in your own abilities to do damage and you want a little bit more of a damage spike, then go Stone of Binding, but I'd still urge you to get this mushroom immediately afterwards. Again, we'll talk more about that in a later video, but right now I just really want you guys to focus on this mushroom because this mushroom is very strong. I honestly thought it was kind of poop. Then I saw it used a lot. I tried it out myself, used it a bunch. This item is insane. Go the mushroom. And of course, Thebes. Thebes is the... Ever since this item got added back in like season 5 of Smite 1, it's been in every single support build just ever. So strong. Gives you 45 prots base, then gives you an additional 10 of each. And also 10 of each to your teammates. It's so strong, guys. This is so good. And it gives you max health and max mana. Both work really well in tandem together, especially on those characters, like I said, Ares and Bacchus, who scale off of those protections. This third slot, I like to reserve for cooldown items. We're talking Pridwin. We're talking Breastplate. We're talking this Talisman of Purification. It's whatever you think is going to help you the most this game. If they have an Ares and a Fenrir on the enemy team, you're going to want to go Talisman pretty early IMO. This item gives you 15 cooldown, gives you 30 magical procs, which is nice, 200 health, and then the passive is just aura beads. It's so good. You pop this item, you use this item, you give you and people around you a free beads, which is so strong, guys. It's so good. I personally, in most cases, don't think you need it this early. I would go for the Pridwin, but also the Pridwin is a little expensive, so there is a lot of debate to be had here. In the tournament, we saw a lot of people going Pridwin this early just because of how strong this item is in terms of the raw prots and cooldown, and the passive is very good. But generally speaking, in this third slot, you're looking for some type of cooldown. If you're an Athena player, honestly, what I would do is I would skip the Thebes altogether and go mushroom straight into Breastplate. But again, we'll talk about that in a later video. This is just in general what to build and support. So we're going mushroom, Thebes, some type of cooldown. My personal recommendations, again, for this third slot are going to be your Breastplate of Valor for this insane passive. If you're getting one shot all the time, not one shot, but you know what I mean. If you're just finding yourself not actually tanky, Breastplate's going to save your life. It's going to give you so many cooldowns. It's going to be so beneficial for you. You're looking at Talisman of Purification for those free beads. You're looking at Pridwin for that insane passive. And also maybe even a Screeching Gargoyle on characters who have really strong engage, like Ares or Bacchus. If you Ares blink in, if you jump in as Bacchus and then pop this immediately right in their face, that's a death sentence for most people. They have to beats that immediately. And then if you're Ares and they beats this, what does that leave you with? Well, you can now ult them for completely free. Just some stuff to think about. But most cases, you're probably going Pridwin here. This will be an expensive build, but with how inflated gold is right now, that's just totally fine. Don't worry too much about it. If I go to the cooldown tab, you can see we have a lot of other options here. Many options. You have Spectral, you have Pharaohs. I wouldn't worry too much about those right now. Spectral is kind of just not in the best spot. It's still a good passive, especially with how strong crit is. But in terms of anti-crit, which we're going to be talking about now, you're more than likely going to be looking at Anemian, so don't worry about it too much. I'd really focus on those items I mentioned previously. Fourth slot here, this is your situational slot. Honestly, these three slots are going to be your situational slots. These are mostly your core slots, and that's how it was in Smite 1, so I'm not surprised. But this slot right here, slot number 4, look at the enemy team. What do they have? Do they have a Jean Wei? If so, a Nemean line is probably your best bet. Do they have like an on her? Just anyone who's gonna go crit or have high attack damage, you're gonna want hide into the Nemean line. This item is so strong. The reflect has always been good in the game. Reflect damage is just so powerful. I'm honestly genuinely surprised they added this item back into the game because of how much that high-res hated it. But I could not be happier personally as a Kuzumbo lover and also just a reflect damage lover in general. This item is so good. This is a very good option to put in your situational slot. Another option is Ruinous Ankh if they have a lot of healing. This item is going to be your bread and butter. If you're a person that is annoyed about healing, go this item. This is a passive. This is not an active. You just buy it, gives you 30 of each prot, max health, and anti-heal. This is so much better than Pestilence used to be, just because of it giving you both prots. It is so good. So good. The aura on it isn't that long. I mean, 8 meters, it sounds like it's kind of far, but realistically, it's this. So if you look at my circle, it's this circle all around me. You can see that right where the X is. So if I stand right here, it's where that line is, right under the X. That's how far it is. So you have to be pretty in their face in order for this to work. So again, maybe like on a Bacchus or something, but not a bad option at all. Another very good option you have here is Circe's Hexstone. This is a fun item. It's a little stat heavy, but it doesn't offer any procs, just health regen, cooldown, and movement. But this item has some of the best use cases I've ever seen in Smite. If I just set myself here, we'd be around level 16 at this point. So set myself to 16. Let's max level the 2, and then we'll do the freeze, and then the wall. What you can use this item for is absolutely insane. So something that's really cool about it is, if you haven't seen it before, let me show you. What it does is it turns you into, basically, for my old Smite 1 players, it's Wukong's first ability mixed with the second half of this. It's basically just Wukong's first ability, where basically you dash in and you knock them up. Pretty cool. But you're also CC immune while that happens. But something that's really cool about this item is you can use it while channeling certain abilities like Ymir ult, meaning you can do stuff like this. And it's just, I mean, if that's not cool, I don't know what is, right? Like, just to dash in and hit them with the Ymir ult, and you're also knocking them up. Like, that's awesome. So keep that in mind. That's a very good item. It's, again, a little on the expensive side. This is already an expensive build, so just keep that in mind. But definitely don't be afraid to look at this. It also will cap you out on your 3 actives if you have these, so keep that in mind as well. But generally speaking, these last 2 are going to be passive items only, so don't worry about that. Again, Breastplate is another option here if you want more cooldown and you're still not as tanky as you want to be. Stampede is a very good item that I'm not seeing enough people building. The movement speed on this is so strong. You get so much physical procs, 200 health, 5 health regen. This is a very good item. Another very slept on item is Pharaoh's Curse. Being able to slow them. So like, again, if you're Ymir, you pop that, you're slowing them and their attack speed. This is another good anti-carry item as well because of that attack speed. You pair that maybe with a Nemean, or honestly just this on its own, and they're not even a problem anymore. There's so many options to go in this situational slot. It's so cool. This is probably where I personally would build Talisman of Purification if I was going to go it. But that's, again, that's up to you. There's so many options. Stone of Binding is another option here. There's just so many good options to go here. More often than not, you're probably going to be going Stone of Binding, Stampede, Ruinous Ankh, or Pharaoh's Curse. If you are an aggressive player, I highly do recommend you guys to go this, but we're going to talk more about that stuff in that other video. I'll keep mentioning it. But just right now, focus on those items and play around with this one if you're feeling experimental. This is just so good. Everything right now about Smite 2, if you can't tell already from how much I'm having fun explaining this to you, it's just everything in Smite 2 feels so much better than it did in Smite 1. It feels so good to play a support in Smite 2. It's just, I'm having the best time with this, guys. It is so much fun. So for the sake of argument, let's just say that we went Ruinous Ankh, right? For those extra prots, anti-heal, whatnot. These last 2 slots are going to be restricted to passive items because we're capped out on our active items. So let's just go ahead and mark it here. What do we have for passive items? Now, This is when you can really experiment, because at this point, you'd have upgraded your starter. And you'd have a bunch of Thebes stacks. So let me just go ahead and get this stacked real quickly by killing a bunch of Ymirs. There we go. Thebes is stacked. So if you look at our prots, we're already at 233 physical and 200 magical prots. We are tanky, guys. Ymir especially, 2800 health. By this point, we'd be at like level 18, almost level 20, I'd imagine. So let's just set ourselves to 18. Keep it fair. 3k health. Ymir, he has extra health, so just, that's not, don't worry about the Twitch. But the prots, 239 to 11. You're tanky, guys. You are so tanky. You don't have to build more defense, but you can if you want to. You could also start to branch out and maybe look at some damage items. Don't be afraid to go damage on support. I've always said this, especially if it's your last item, build a damage item. Go in there and actually do something. Don't be the guy that's just sitting back watching your teams die. Be the guy that's frontlining for your team, protecting them and attacking people in the process. These last two items, look at items like Chronos Pendant for that cooldown and intelligence. A lot of supports scale off of intelligence for a lot of their abilities. This gives 60 and it gives you so much cooldown, and it resets your cooldown by lowers your cooldowns by 1 second every 10 seconds. This is just a really good ability. Stuff like this is really strong. You know, I completely forgot to mention it earlier in the situationals, but another item that I can't, honestly, I don't even know how I forgot to mention this, but if we go back, Helm of Darkness, this is an active item, so it would also go here. Helm of Darkness gives you 80 intelligence and 15 physical, 20 magical, and it gives you Loki stealth for 6 seconds. That's a long time. You know, I have a few clips that I might make into YouTube shorts of me and my friends all going this item, like 3 of us, and we hide in a bush, pop this item, walk out, and kill an Odin in less than 2 seconds. It's insane. This item is so good. Again, I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but if you somehow have an active slot open, get this. This is, again, very expensive, but really good. Triton's Conch, aura item that gives strength and intelligence to you and your team, and it also gives health base to you. This is such a good item. This gives you 15 base strength, 45 intelligence, plus 10 plus 1 per level intelligence. So if you're level 20, this is giving you 30 intelligence, and then it's giving you 7 plus 0.5 level strength. So if you're level 20, this is giving you 17 strength plus the base stats to yourself. So this is a very good option. Oni Hunter's Garb is a very good option if you want some mitigations, which are true protections. Nothing can go past mitigations. They're very good. But something that I have just pretty much been going every game in these last 2 slots is if I want more damage for my team, I'd go Tritons, but then I'd also maybe look at a Void Stone and a Void Shield. Just aura, prot reduction, very good. So if we just went this, I'd say this is a good build. If you don't need 284 Fizz prots, don't get this and get instead, like we talked about, a Chronos Pendant and do some damage. You're still 239, 256, but now you have Chronos Pendant. You're probably going to be about level 20. And if we go ahead and summon a Ymir bot, set him to level 20, this would be about your normal squishy target, right? So with this amount of prots, you're still going to hurt like an absolute truck on most characters. You know, obviously we're Ymir, so we're just doing a bunch of damage, but look at how low these cooldowns are. I could have realistically used my 2 3 times in that fight, but he just died fast. Like, it's insane. You don't be afraid to go Chronos Pendant, guys, please. Very good. If you don't want Chronos Pendant though, there are so many other options. And I encourage you to look at some of the damage items and just see what fits for your team. Like, what would you need? I wouldn't go anything stacking. Realistically, that's just not that good late in the game. Gem of Isolation, stack slows on slows, not bad. Not bad at all. You have many options. Maybe some penetration. You're already having the aura prots, but just getting actual raw penetration like Spear Desolation. This has always been a favorite of mine to go last item of support in Smite 1. It's, again, a little expensive, but there's just so much gold to go around right now. Don't be afraid. Maybe even a Spirit Robe. It's a little bugged right now, so I keep that in mind. But 40 Fizz, 15 magical. If you get hit by hard CC, you're gaining 50 of each protection. Like, come on, guys. Like this, there's so many good items right now. For me personally, though, every game is looking something like this, with the occasional Helm of Darkness in there because of just how good this item is. Most of my builds, I would say, are looking like this. I did dabble a little bit with Prophetic Cloak, but right now I think this build that I have right here is just, in general, one of the best builds you can go on support, with the caveat of being these items right here are your situational items. So whatever you need in that situation. I know that this is a lot of information very fast, so please go back and watch some parts that you need help with. If you need help, ask in the comments or join the Discord. I'm very active in both of those, and I love to help you guys out. We can even do some one-on-one like calls where I help you out and whatnot. Just please, if you need help, reach out. There are no bad questions. I want you guys to succeed in Smite 2. I want you to have a great time because I'm having a great time, and hopefully we can all succeed together and have the best support experience of any game ever, because right now I am loving how support is in Smite 2. Hopefully you guys are too. I'm going to end this video here. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said. I could talk about relics, but relics are boring. Right now, invade meta is just super strong. You're pretty much going sundering every game because this also just does insane damage. Blink is good. Go blink if you want to, but honestly, just go sunder. So good. Yeah, honestly, I think you guys have enough information from this to go out and succeed. And the next video like this will be me talking about each and every support character, including like Fenrir, because I love support Fenrir, and just giving you a more in-depth guide on what they want to build and support and some different options in there. So be on the lookout for that. And thank you guys so much for sticking with me and watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great day.